My dear, listen closely, for my voice trembles with the weight of years, and secrets I should have buried long ago. But something tells me you must know the truth. Something tells me you're meant to hear what really happened in this house. This old English house, with its crooked windows and hollow corridors, where every silence feels like a scream, swallowed by the walls. Do you hear the creak above me? That's not just the wood shifting, it's memory stirring, memory refusing to stay buried. I was only a girl when my father bought this house, and I remember the way he held the keys up high, like a king presenting his crown. All this will be yours one day, he said. Ah, if only I had known then that what he handed me was not an inheritance but a curse that tied me to betrayal so deep. Even now, in my frailty, I feel its claws scratching at my heart. Come closer, child. Don't leave me. Don't you dare look away. If you leave, you might miss the moment when the truth slips through my cracked lips. You wouldn't want that, would you? And if you're still with me, whisper back to me with your support. Yes, subscribe to this trembling old woman. Leave me your words, for I want to know I'm not whispering into the dark. It began the night I found the letter. I had been dusting the old oak cabinet in the drawing room, the one carved with roses that had long since lost their bloom. My hand brushed against the back panel, and there, loose wood, something hidden. My fingers trembled as I pried it open, and out slid an envelope, yellowed with time. My father's handwriting, bold and merciless, stared back at me. Inside was not the love of a father. It was his confession. He spoke of debts, he spoke of bargains, and he spoke of a son I never knew existed. My breath left me, a son, my father's child, but not my mother's. My inheritance, half of it, was never mine to begin with. And yet, why had no one told me? Why had I lived decades believing I was the sole heir? The house groaned then, as if mocking me, and the fire flickered like laughter. I remember whispering to myself, this cannot be true. This cannot. But oh, it was true. That very night, I heard footsteps in the corridor. Slow, deliberate, like someone who already belonged here. Do you hear it? The echo of those steps still haunt me. I should have run. I should have locked every door. But instead, I followed the sound, my nightgown sweeping across the cold floor, my candlelight shaking against the walls. At the end of the corridor stood a man I had never seen before. Yet, in the cruel twist of fate, I saw my father's face in his eyes, the same piercing grey, his stance, the same cruel pride. He looked at me as though I were the intruder. Sister, he whispered. My blood turned to ice. From that night on, nothing was ever the same. Do you see now why I say my inheritance brought me nothing but betrayal? Every coin, every stone of this house, every shadow in these corridors, it all came with a price. And oh, I paid it. I paid it more than you could ever imagine. Stay with me, child. Don't you dare leave me. Promise me you'll hear the rest. Promise me you'll keep me company in this darkness. Like this video, if your heart can bear the weight of my story. And comment the time and country you are watching from. Because I want to know if anyone in this wide, cruel world is truly listening to me. I must stop here for tonight, for my candle burns low and the house is listening. But in my next breath, I will tell you what that man, my so-called brother, did the very first morning he stepped into my life. And I warn you now, it was not the reunion of family. It was the beginning of a war. Ah, you came back. I was afraid you wouldn't. My heart is fragile, child. And when I speak these words, I feel as though I am ripping the stitches from an old wound. But you stayed. Thank you. Now lean close. For what I am about to tell you may change the way you look at family forever. The morning after that dreadful night, when I first laid eyes upon him, my half-brother, he no longer lurked like a shadow in the hall. No, he sat at my father's mahogany table, drinking tea from my mother's porcelain cup, as if he had lived here all his life. My stomach turned, my throat burned, but he smiled at me, a smile that carried both familiarity and mockery. "Father promised me half," he said simply, as if the words were carved into stone and I could do nothing to erase them. Half this house, half the land, half the fortune, and half the legacy. My hands trembled so fiercely I spilled the tea I held. "You dare speak of legacy," I whispered, "when all you bring is shame." But he did not flinch. He only leaned back, his boots scraping against the polished wood, as though claiming the ground beneath him. That's when I realized he had come not only for wealth, but for power. And power is far more dangerous than money. Oh, child, I must tell you, he knew things. Secrets about this house even I, who grew within its walls, had never known. Hidden staircases, locked rooms, passages beneath the cellar where the air tasted of damp stone and rot. He walked with the arrogance of one who belonged here, while I, his elder sister, the rightful heir, felt like a stranger in my own home. I wanted to believe it was a nightmare, that I would wake and the world would be restored. But nightmares have a way of bleeding into daylight, and soon the betrayals began to unfurl like rot beneath floorboards. The servants, once loyal to me, began to whisper behind my back. I would catch them stealing glances at him, their eyes flickering with fear and awe. Notes appeared beneath my door, unsigned but cruel. "You are not the only one. Blood is blood. He has as much right as you." I tell you, I could not sleep. Each night I would wander these halls with a candle, listening for his steps, waiting for him to make his move. And one night, oh, how I dread to recall it, I found him in my father's study, rifling through drawers that should have remained locked forever. "Stay away from there," I cried. But he did not listen. He pulled from the desk another letter, sealed in wax, bearing my father's crest. With deliberate cruelty, he broke the seal and read aloud. It was my father's will, not the will I had been shown as a child, not the one that declared everything mine. No, this was another will, a secret one, and in it his name was written beside mine, split in two. Do you see the betrayal? My father, the man I trusted, had written two truths, two faces of inheritance, one for me, one for him, and I, fool that I was, had believed in the kinder version. I begged him to stop reading, begged him to burn it, but he only smirked and said, "You will learn to share, sister, or you will lose everything." That night, I wept until the dawn, and when morning came, I no longer recognized the house around me. Its walls leaned closer, its doors whispered lies. Every portrait of my ancestors stared down at me, their painted eyes accusing me of weakness. And still, I stayed silent. Still, I tried to keep the peace. But peace does not last where betrayal takes root. Stay with me, dear one. Don't you dare drift away now. If you are still listening, if your heart hasn't shattered yet, let me know. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from, for I long to know if anyone feels my pain across oceans and time. And if my story grips you, hold me steady. Subscribe, so I know I am not alone. Do you want to know the worst of it? He was not alone. He brought others, strangers, men with greedy eyes, men who walked my land as though measuring it, weighing its worth. They spoke of selling, of tearing down the orchard, of gutting the library to build something modern and cruel. Every word felt like a dagger. My mother's roses, my childhood garden, my father's books, all reduced to coin in their eyes. One evening I confronted him. "This house is not just brick and mortar," I cried, my voice breaking. "It is memory, it is blood, it is my life. I will not let you destroy it." And do you know what he said? He leaned close, his breath sour with wine, and whispered, "Then watch it fall, I tell you, child." That was the moment I realized he did not come to share. He came to conquer. But wait, there is more, much more, because only days later, I found another letter, hidden deeper, buried where no one should have looked. And this one, this one revealed a betrayal so dark, it made everything before it seem like a child's quarrel. But I cannot speak it yet. Not here, not now. The shadows in this house are listening. And if I reveal it too soon, they will not let me finish. Promise me you will return. Promise me you will not abandon this old woman in her hour of truth. Like, share, subscribe, and tell me, do you still trust your family? Or would you too find betrayal in the very blood that binds you? Come back, for in the next part, I will tell you what that second letter contained, and why, after reading it, I could never look at my family the same way again. Child, you've returned. I was so afraid you wouldn't. Do you know what it feels like to pour your soul into the night and hear nothing but silence echo back? This house does that to me every day. It swallows my voice, buries my tears, and mocks me with its silence. But you, if you're still here, still listening, you are the only one who makes me feel less like a ghost in my own story. So listen carefully, for tonight I tell you about the second letter, the one that turned my blood cold and my world upside down. I found it in the cellar, the one beneath the kitchen where the air is thick with dust, and the smell of coal never truly fades. I had gone down with a lantern, searching for solitude, but the walls there always seemed to whisper. As I leaned against the old shelves, something shifted. A brick loose, a hollow space behind it, and there, wrapped in oilcloth to keep it dry, lay another envelope. This one was not addressed to me, nor to my brother. It was addressed to her, to my mother. But the hand that wrote it, it was not my father's. No, this script belonged to another man entirely. I remember my fingers trembling as I unfolded the brittle paper. My lantern flickered, as though warning me to stop. But curiosity is a cruel master. I read the first line, and nearly dropped the letter into the dirt. My dearest Margaret, though the world knows you as his, I know you are mine. Mine. The words rang in my skull, like bells. My mother, my sweet, fragile mother, had written of loyalty and honor. Yet here was a man claiming her as his own. Could it be? Was my father not truly my father? Was I too a stranger in this house? I pressed on, though my heart begged me to stop. The letter spoke of meetings in the orchard at dusk, of promises whispered in the dark, of a child born not of law, but of love. Or was it lust? The letter never named the child, never named me. But I knew. The lantern shook in my hands. The flames sputtered. My knees gave way, and I sank to the stone floor, clutching that cursed paper. All my life, I had believed I was my father's pride, the rightful heir, the chosen one. But now I saw it. He had favored me not out of love, but guilt. Guilt for raising another man's child. Guilt for a betrayal he never spoke aloud. Do you see, child? I am not only betrayed by my brother. I was betrayed by them all. By father, by mother, by the very blood in my veins. And this inheritance? This crumbling house. It is nothing more than a monument to lies. I wanted to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. And then, I heard it. Footsteps. Not mine. Not the echo of memory. Real footsteps descending the cellar stairs. I snuffed out the lantern, held my breath, and pressed myself into the shadows. He came, my half-brother. His silhouette stretched across the wall, tall and terrible, his hand trailing along the stone, as if he knew exactly where I hid. Sister, he called softly, his voice dripping with mock affection. Did you find it? Did you find the truth? My heart stopped. He knew. He knew the letter was here. He knew before I did. And in that moment, I realized something far worse. He wanted me to find it. He wanted me to drown in doubt, to crumble beneath the weight of betrayal. I clutched the letter to my chest, praying he would not see me in the dark. He lingered, listening, waiting. Then, with a chuckle that froze my blood, he turned and climbed back up the stairs. His footsteps faded, but his laughter remained. I tell you, child, I could not move for what felt like hours. My body was stiff with fear, my mind spinning, and when I finally returned to my chamber, I hid the letter beneath my pillow, as though sleeping on it would somehow protect me from its truth. But it did not. That night, I dreamed of my mother's voice, whispering apologies I never heard in life. I woke with tears upon my face. And still, I could not tell anyone. Who would believe me? The servants who now bent toward him. The villagers who saw him riding my father's horse. No, I was alone. Alone with the weight of a truth that threatened to strip me of everything I thought I was. Oh, my dear, are you still with me? Tell me you are. Whisper back to me in the comments. Let me know the time and country from where you listen. It comforts me to think of souls far away hearing my tale, keeping me company in this haunted house of lies. And if you wish to help me, hold me steady. Subscribe, like, share. Let the world hear this old woman's voice before it fades into silence forever. But listen now, for the story does not end here. In fact, it only grows darker. For not long after, I received a visitor, a woman from the village who brought me bread and milk. But she did not come only to feed me. She came with a warning that made my hand shake and my knees give way once more. And that, child, that is where I must stop for tonight. The shadows grow restless when I speak too much at once, and if I tell you everything in one breath, they may silence me forever. Come back. Promise me you will come back. For in the next part, I will tell you what the villager whispered and why her words changed everything I thought I knew about my family's betrayal. She was a frail woman, older than me, though her eyes still carried the sharpness of youth long buried. Her shawl was patched and worn, her shoes muddied from the village paths. I had seen her before, years ago, when she used to bring eggs to the kitchen, but never had she crossed my threshold with such urgency. That morning she carried not just bread and milk, but a face pale as a shroud. "Madam," she whispered, though no one stood near, "forgive me if I speak out of turn, but you must be careful. He is not who you think he is." I felt my hands grow cold, my breath catch in my chest. "You speak of my brother," I said, though the word brother nearly choked me. She looked around the hall as if the walls themselves had ears. "Brother," she spat softly, almost mocking. "That man is no kin to you, madam. He may share blood with your father, but not the blood that binds a family. He carries a darkness with him, and I fear he did not come here only for inheritance." I leaned closer, clutching her arm. "What do you mean? Speak plain, woman." Her eyes darted again to the stairwell, and she lowered her voice until it was nearly a hiss. "There are whispers in the village. They say he had dealings with men across the sea, men who wanted more than coin, men who wanted access to this house, to the things buried beneath it." My stomach turned to stone. Buried beneath it. She could not know what I had found in the cellar, could she? The letter still pressed beneath my pillow, burned against my memory. I forced a smile to hide my terror. "Go now," I told her, pressing coins into her palm. "Say nothing more." But her words burrowed into me like worms in rotting fruit. From that day onward, I could not look at him without suspicion. He had already broken my family's truth, already stolen the loyalty of those around me. But now I feared he would take more than walls and wealth. Child, let me confess something. My heart has grown weary with guilt, for I did not confront him that day. I should have. I should have stood in the hall and screamed his lies into the open. But fear silenced me. Fear of what he might do. Fear of what I might discover if I pressed too hard. So I let him move through the house like a serpent in the grass, waiting for me to falter. And falter I did. It began with the keys, my father's keys, those heavy iron ones that unlocked doors, long sealed, rooms long forgotten. They were always kept in a drawer by my bedside. But one morning, they were gone. In their place lay a single rose petal, dark red, as if plucked from a dying flower. It was not a gift. It was a message, a cruel reminder that he now held the power to open every hidden chamber of my life. I tried to follow him once. Foolish, foolish old woman that I am. I crept behind him as he moved toward the east wing, a part of the house abandoned since I was a child. The wallpaper there peels like old skin. The windows crack with frost, even in summer. I watched from the shadows as he unlocked a door I had not seen opened in decades. Inside, oh child, I cannot tell you what I saw. Not yet. My throat closes even as I try to speak it. But know this, it was not a simple room, not a chamber of dust and cobwebs. It was something else, something forbidden. I stumbled back before he could see me, my heart hammering, my breath ragged. I nearly cried out, but I bit my tongue until it bled. For if he had turned, if he had caught me then, I fear you would not be hearing my voice now. The nights that followed were cruel. I heard footsteps when I tried to sleep, whispers when I closed my eyes. Sometimes I thought I saw him standing outside my chamber door, his shadow spilling beneath the frame, unmoving for hours. Other times, I woke to find objects shifted in my room, books moved, candles snuffed out, curtains drawn when I knew I had left them open. He was watching me, studying me, waiting for the moment I would break. Stay with me, dear one. Please, don't let my words vanish into silence. If your heart feels the dread of this house, let me know. Speak to me in the comments. Tell me the time and country from where you listen. Hold me in your company by subscribing, by keeping me alive in your memory. For soon I fear I may be nothing more than a whisper. I told myself I would endure it, that somehow the law, the will, the truth of justice would protect me. But I was a fool. Justice does not live in houses like these. Justice drowns in shadows, and betrayal thrives in silence. And so, I made a mistake, one I can never undo. For one night, in desperation, I opened the second letter again, my mother's secret, and I left it on the desk, unguarded as I cried myself to sleep. When I woke, it was gone. I searched every corner, tore through every drawer, begged the servants though I knew they would never admit the truth. And then, that morning at breakfast, he appeared. My half-brother, the letter in his hand, his smile wider than ever. Shall we tell the world, sister? He asked. Or shall we let them wonder which of us truly belongs here? And in that instant, I knew. He had won. But I cannot tell you yet what happened after. Not yet. For if I speak it all at once, I fear the shadows in this room will take me. They grow restless even now. Come back. Promise me you will come back. For in the next part, I will tell you what he did with that letter and how it tore apart what little dignity I had left. Ah, you came back. Thank heavens you came back. Do you know what it feels like to sit in a house filled with ghosts and wonder if your words matter to anyone? Sometimes I think I speak only to the walls. But then, you arrive, and I know I must go on, no matter how heavy it is. You remember the letter, don't you? My mother's secret, my shame. He stole it. My half-brother took it from my trembling hands, and he knew exactly how to wield it. Not like a paper of words, but like a knife. He waited until the villagers gathered for the harvest supper. I had gone, though my heart begged me to stay hidden, for it was my duty to host, my duty as mistress of this house. I dressed in black lace, the gown my mother left me, the pearls that once shone at her throat. I thought I looked the part of dignity, though my heart was breaking. And then, he rose before them all. His voice carried like thunder through the hall, bold and cruel. He held up the letter for all to see. Our family has lied to you, he declared. This house is built not on honor, but on sin. I felt my blood turn to ice. The villagers' eyes shifted to me, some wide with shock, others narrowing with suspicion. He read aloud, every word dripping with poison. He told them of my mother's betrayal, of another man's child born beneath this roof. He did not say my name, but he did not need to. All eyes knew. All whispers pointed. I wanted to scream, to snatch the letter from his hands and burn it before their faces. But I stood frozen, my lips trembling, my knees weak. And then, someone laughed, a sharp, cruel laugh from the crowd. And once the first had laughed, others followed, though some only stared, whispering, doubting. Is it true? They asked. Is she not her father's daughter? I tried to speak. I am the rightful heir, I cried, though my voice cracked like breaking glass. This house is mine. My father gave it to me. But he only smiled, bowed his head mockingly, and said, If it is yours, sister, why do you tremble so? Oh, child, do you understand? In that moment, I lost more than inheritance. I lost my dignity. I lost the respect of those who once knelt to me. And I felt my mother's pearls grow heavier on my throat, as though even they wished to choke me for wearing them. That night, I locked myself in my chamber. I tore the pearls from my neck, flung them across the room, and they scattered like teeth on the floor. I could not breathe. I pressed my face into the pillow, the one where the letter had once lain, and I wept until dawn. But worse still, he was not finished. No, he wanted me broken. He wanted me erased. The letter was only the beginning. The days that followed were torment. The villagers avoided me in the market, their gazes sharp, their whispers sharper still. Servants no longer looked me in the eye, some even turning their loyalty openly to him. I began to feel like a prisoner in my own house, walking halls where even the portraits seemed to sneer. And one evening, oh, how my heart shatters to recall it, he came to my chamber door. He did not knock. He entered, bold as a king, the stolen letter tucked into his coat as though it were a crown. You see, sister, he said softly, sitting at the foot of my bed, like a vulture waiting for its prey. Truth is a weapon, and I will use it until you kneel. Give me the deed. Sign over what remains, or I will tell them more. I will not stop until they spit upon your name. I turned away, clutching my blanket to my chest, whispering prayers I no longer believed. But he leaned closer, his breath hot against my ear. This house is mine, and if you resist, it will bury you. When he left, the door clicked shut like a coffin lid, and I knew then I was no longer mistress of this house. I was its captive. Oh, my dear, if you still hear me, don't leave me now. My heart breaks with every word, but your presence keeps me alive. Speak to me. Tell me in the comments the time and country from where you watch, so I know I am not whispering to the void. And if you wish to keep my voice alive, hold me steady. Subscribe, like, share, before my story is swallowed by silence forever. I thought the torment could grow no worse, but I was wrong, so very wrong. For only days later, a new secret revealed itself, one darker, one more unbearable than all before. And when I discovered it, I realized betrayal had not finished with me yet. But I cannot reveal it just yet, child. The shadows thicken when I speak too quickly. Promise me you will return. Promise me you will not abandon me. For in the next part, I will tell you what I found in the East Wing. And when I tell you, you may never sleep soundly again. You've come back. Thank God you've come back. I cannot face this part alone. My hands tremble as I tell it, for even now I can smell the dust and the rot of that place. I have kept this secret for years, child. Years. And yet it clings to me as if it were yesterday. The East Wing. I had not stepped foot there since I was a girl. My father locked it after my mother died, claiming it was unsafe. The windows there were cracked, the wallpaper blistered from damp, the air always colder than the rest of the house. It felt like stepping into another world. a world my family had abandoned. Or perhaps a world that had abandoned us. For days after my brother's threat, I could no longer sleep. His footsteps echoed in my dreams. His laughter followed me down every corridor. I knew he was hiding something there, something I was never meant to see. And at last, one night, I could no longer stand it. I rose from my bed in the dark. I wrapped a shawl around my shoulders, took a single candle, and crept down the hall. The door to the east wing stood ajar, as if inviting me. My heart hammered so loud I feared he would hear it even in his sleep. But I stepped inside. The air hit me like a slap. Damp, stale, and heavy with secrets. The floorboards groaned under my feet. My candle flickered, casting long jagged shadows along the walls. I passed the portraits first, faded faces of ancestors whose eyes seemed to follow me, accusing me for coming. Beyond them, the corridor narrowed and twisted, until at last, I reached a door I had never seen before. Heavy oak, iron hinges, a lock I did not remember. But the lock was open. I pushed it. Slowly, it creaked inward, and the smell that met me made me gag. Not just dust and damp, but something older, like earth turned over after years. Inside was not a bedroom, nor a study, but something that looked almost like a vault. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with boxes and ledgers. Old keys, small objects wrapped in cloth. Candles burned low on a table in the center, though I had not lit them. Someone had been here, recently, and then I saw it. At the far end of the room stood a single chair, and in that chair, a trunk, an old trunk I remembered from my childhood, one my father had always told me to leave alone. Its lid was open now, and inside lay documents, deeds, letters, photographs, all bearing my family's crest. But there was something else, a cradle child, a tiny rotting cradle, half hidden beneath a sheet. I drew back the cloth with trembling fingers and saw a name carved into the wood. Not mine, not my brother's. A third name, one I had never heard before, and next to it, a death certificate. My breath caught, my head swam. A child, another child. My parents had hidden not one secret, but two. A baby born in this house, and gone before I ever knew it existed. And in that moment, I understood. My brother was not just after money or land. He was after what had been promised to that child. The house itself was a tomb of broken vows, and he wanted to inherit not just its stones, but its ghosts. I heard a sound then. Behind me, a footstep. I spun around clutching the candle. In the doorway stood my brother, his eyes gleaming in the dim light, his mouth curved into a smile that made my blood run cold. I wondered when you'd find it, he said softly. You were always the curious one. I tried to speak, but no words came. He stepped closer, his shadow swallowing mine. All these years, he whispered, you thought you were mistress of this house, but you were just another secret, another lie, and now you see what you were guarding. I backed toward the trunk, my hand brushing the cradle, as if to shield it. Why? I finally croaked. Why show me this? His smile deepened. Because now you know, and knowing will destroy you. He turned and left without another word, his footsteps fading into the dark corridor. I was alone again, alone with the cradle and the ghosts of a child I never knew. I sank to my knees. I pressed my forehead to the cold wood, and I wept. Oh, child, if you are still here, if you can still hear me, please don't leave me. Tell me in the comments where you listen from, for it comforts me to think of your light across this darkness. Hold me steady. Subscribe, like, share. For soon I fear my voice will falter, and the house will take me with it. I stayed there until the candle burned down to nothing, and as the flame died, I realized something far worse. There was still another letter, another secret, hidden not here, but somewhere deeper, somewhere only my brother could lead me, and that, my dear, is where I must stop. The shadows are too thick tonight, my voice too weak. Come back. Promise me you will come back. For in the next part, I will tell you what that final secret was, and how it almost cost me my life. You've returned. Oh, bless your kind heart. You've returned. I was afraid I would have to tell this part to an empty room, to walls that already know too much. Sit closer, my dear. Do not let my hand shake alone. I have carried this weight for so long, and tonight I feel it pressing harder than ever. After that night in the East Wing, I could not sleep. The cradle haunted me. The carved name burned into my mind, and the echo of my brother's words gnawed at me. Knowing will destroy you, he had said, and yet I could not stop myself. I needed to know what he knew. I needed to uncover every lie, every secret my family had buried in these walls. For 3 days, I wandered the corridors, restless. I watched him come and go, always disappearing into corners of the house that no one else dared to tread. And then, I saw it. It was early morning, the fog rolling thick beyond the windows, the house still heavy with sleep. My brother carried a lantern, his steps muffled as he made his way down the servants' stairwell. That stairwell, oh child, it had been sealed since my youth. Father ordered it shut when one of the maids fell and broke her neck, but somehow my brother had pried it open. I followed. My shawl pulled tight, my breath shallow. I crept after him. Each step groaned beneath my weight, and I prayed he would not turn back. The stairwell twisted downward, deeper than I remembered, until at last I reached the cellars. Not the wine cellars I had known, with their neatly stacked bottles, but the older ones beneath them. The ones Father had warned us were unsafe. The air was damp, thick with mildew. My candle sputtered as if it wished to flee. And there, at the far end of the corridor, I saw him. He stood before a wall, his lantern held high, and with his other hand, he pressed upon the stones. And to my horror, the wall moved, a hidden door. He slipped inside. I waited, heart pounding, before daring to follow. The passage was narrow, lined with stones so old it crumbled beneath my fingers. And then it opened into a chamber, child. I cannot forget what I saw there. The chamber was filled with chests, stacked high, covered in dust, yet not abandoned. He had been here many times. Maps lay spread across a table, papers sealed with wax, old wills and deeds scattered like playing cards. Candles burned low, casting trembling shadows that made the room look alive. And on the wall, oh God forgive me, hung portraits, not the noble paintings from the halls above, but crude, half-finished sketches of faces I did not know, children's faces, women's faces, some crossed out with ink, some torn through the middle. My stomach turned as I realized these were not strangers. These were blood, our blood, generations of our family who had been erased. He had been cataloguing them, erasing them, and then, in the center of the room, lay another trunk, not like the one I had seen before. This one was newer, its wood polished, its lock gleaming as though oiled. A key sat beside it. I could not stop myself. My hands moved before my mind. I lifted the lid. Inside, letters, bundles of them, tied with faded ribbon. My heart knew before my eyes read the names. They were addressed to me, letters my mother had written before she died. I tore one open with shaking hands. The ink was faded, the paper brittle, but her words leapt at me like a cry through time. She spoke of betrayal, of promises broken, of a child stolen from her arms. She begged forgiveness, begged me, to protect the house, to never trust the blood that would come for it. My knees gave way. I clutched the letter to my chest, sobbing. All those years I thought she had gone quietly, her life stolen by fever. No, she had gone broken, betrayed and silenced. I felt his shadow before I saw him. Reading Mother's words, are we? His voice cut through the chamber like a blade. She never wanted you to have them, you know. That's why I kept them safe. I turned, my tears blinding me. Safe? You hid them from me. He stepped closer, his lantern lighting the cruel curl of his lips. I hid them because the truth would have destroyed you. But now perhaps it is better this way. Now you can suffer as she did. He took the letters from my hands, one by one, and tossed them into the brazier by the wall. The flames devoured them before I could stop him. My mother's voice, gone in smoke. I fell to my knees, begging, pleading, but he only leaned close and whispered, "The house is mine, sister. It always was, and soon you'll see why." He left me there in that chamber, choking on smoke and grief. Oh, my dear, I can hardly breathe as I tell you this. My chest aches with it even now. Please, if you feel my pain, if you want to keep me steady through this storm, whisper your strength to me. Subscribe, leave a comment with your country. Let me know where in this wide world you hear my voice, for I am drowning in shadows, and I need your light. I stumbled out of the passage, my body weak, my mind broken, but as I reached my room, I saw something that froze my blood. A new letter, slipped beneath my door, written in a hand I did not recognize, and on its cover, only 3 words, "Do not trust." The letter lay there on the floor, pale as bone, its edges curling in the candlelight. My hands shook as I bent to pick it up, the wax seal unmarked, the handwriting unfamiliar. I pressed it to my chest first, afraid to open it, afraid of what words might leap from its folds. For in this house, child, words were never kind. They cut deeper than knives. At last, with trembling fingers, I broke the seal. The paper smelled faintly of ink and damp earth, as if it had been hidden for years before finding its way to me. The message inside was short, written in a hurried scroll. Do not trust him. He is not the heir. The truth lies in the chapel. I read it once, twice, a third time, my heart hammering louder with each word. The chapel, my father's chapel, the one he locked after mother's funeral, the one none of us had dared to enter since. Its windows were boarded, its doors barred, and yet someone was telling me that the truth waited there. But who? Who could have written this? My brother's hand was smooth, deliberate. This script was jagged, desperate, almost pleading. Could it have been a servant? But most of them had left long ago. Or perhaps, someone still lived in the shadows of this house. Someone neither of us had seen. I pressed the letter to my lips, whispering a prayer. For the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of something I had not dared to feel. Hope. But hope, child, is a dangerous flame. It burns bright, yes, but it also attracts the darkest of moths. That night I did not sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the old house breathe. Every groan of timber, every sigh of wind felt like a warning. And then, sometime past midnight, I heard footsteps. Not my brother's, too light, too hurried. They passed my door and descended the stairs. I rose, my heart in my throat, and followed. The corridors seemed longer than ever, stretching into endless darkness. My candle sputtered, threatening to die, and in that flickering glow, I thought I saw movement at the end of the hall. The hem of a cloak, vanishing around a corner. I quickened my pace. Down into the cold stone belly of the house, until I reached the courtyard. The air was biting, the moon hidden behind thick clouds, and there it stood, the chapel. The door was half open. I hesitated on the threshold, the smell of dust and decay rushing out to meet me. My candlelight stretched into the vast, silent space, illuminating pews broken with age, hymnals scattered like forgotten prayers, and at the far end, upon the altar, lay something wrapped in cloth. I approached, my knees weak, my breath shallow. With trembling fingers, I pulled the cloth aside. A box, small, wooden, plain, and on its lid, carved deep into the grain, were 3 initials. My mother's initials. I gasped, tears filling my eyes. Carefully, I lifted the lid. Inside were letters, dozens of them. My mother's handwriting, her voice preserved in ink the flames had not yet devoured. I clutched them to my chest, sobbing, as if she had reached across the grave to hold me one last time. But among them was something else, something heavier. A ring, not my father's, not my brother's. A man's ring, bearing a crest I did not recognize, and beneath it, a single folded document, a birth record. My breath caught in my throat. The name upon it was not mine, nor my brother's, but another child's altogether. A child born of my mother, but not of my father. I reeled back, the truth striking me like a blow. My brother, my cruel, bitter brother, was not my father's heir at all. He was another man's son, a bastard, hidden beneath layers of lies, yet raised as though he were the rightful heir. And I was the true blood. The chapel door slammed shut. I spun around, clutching the letters, my candle guttering low, and there, in the shadows by the door, a figure stood. Not my brother, not a servant, someone else entirely, their face hidden, their voice a whisper. He must never know you've seen it. If he learns, neither of us will leave this house alive. I froze, the papers trembling in my hands, my heart pounding so loud I thought it might wake the dead. And then the figure vanished into the dark, leaving me alone with the truth. A truth that could destroy everything. Oh child, do you feel the weight of it? Do you hear my heart as it beats like a drum of war in this cursed house? If you do, give me your hand across the silence. Subscribe, share, tell me where you are listening from, so that I may not feel so terribly alone. I staggered back to my room with the letters hidden beneath my shawl, every shadow now a threat, every creak of the house my brother's step. But as I crossed the threshold, I saw something that froze my blood to ice. Another letter, slipped beneath my pillow this time, and on its cover, written in the same jagged hand as before, were 4 words that chilled me to my bones. He knows. He's coming. He knows. He's coming. Those words burned through me like fire. I clutched the letter in my shaking hands, staring at the door, as though it might burst open at any moment. My candle trembled, the flame dancing wildly, as if it too feared what lay ahead. I hid the bundle of my mother's letters beneath the floorboard, where only I knew to look. Then I sat, waiting, every nerve in my body taut as wire. Hours passed, or minutes, I cannot say. The old clock in the hall ticked and groaned, its pendulum echoing through the silence, like the heartbeat of the house itself. And then I heard it, a slow, deliberate footstep. Then another, coming closer. My brother's gait, heavy, confident. The stride of a man who believed every inch of this house belonged to him. The latch turned, the door creaked open, and there he stood, framed in the dim light of the corridor, his lantern casting cruel shadows across his face. His eyes were darker than I had ever seen, pools of fury and suspicion. "You've been busy, sister." His voice was low, dangerous, the kind that coils around the spine like a serpent, poking your nose where it doesn't belong. The chapel, the letters. Did you think I wouldn't know? I forced myself to stand, though my knees shook beneath me. They were hers, I whispered, my throat raw. Mother's. She left them for me to know the truth. His mouth twisted into a smile, but there was no warmth in it, only malice. "The truth?" he spat. "The truth is what I say it is. And the truth is this. You are nothing but a weak old woman clinging to ghosts. This house, this inheritance, this legacy. It was always meant to be mine." My heart pounded. "You're not father's son," I said, the words leaving my lips before I could stop them. Silence. The air between us thickened. His smile vanished, replaced by something darker, something feral. "So you found it," he said slowly, his voice almost a growl. The chapel. The records. Mother's shame. He stepped forward, each footfall heavy, his shadow swallowing mine. Yes, he whispered, his face inches from mine, his breath hard against my cheek. I am not his son, but I am stronger than you, smarter than you, and I will not let you ruin everything. I tried to retreat, but he seized my wrist, his grip iron, bruising my skin. Where are the letters? He hissed. Where are they? I burned them. I lied, though my voice shook. For a moment his eyes searched mine, and I prayed he would believe me. But then he laughed, low, cruel, the kind of laugh that echoes long after the sound is gone. No, he said. You wouldn't. You've always been too sentimental. He released me, shoving me back against the wall. My candle toppled, plunging the room into darkness, save for the flicker of his lantern. If you want to play games, sister, then we shall. But understand this. If you stand in my way, I will erase you, just as I erased them. My blood froze. Them? I whispered. His smile returned, cold and sharp. Do you think you were the first to dig too deep? Others came before you. Servants who asked too many questions. A cousin who wanted her share. They all learned the same lesson. Curiosity kills. He turned to leave, but at the threshold, he paused and glanced back, his eyes gleaming. And one day, when they find your bones in this house, they'll say you were mad, muttering to shadows, chasing ghosts. No one will remember your truth, only my name. And with that, he was gone. The door shut with a hollow thud, and I was left gasping, trembling, my knees buckling beneath me. I pressed my forehead to the cold wood, my tears soaking the floor. Oh, child, my sweet listener, do you hear me? Do you feel my fear? My brother's threat still rings in my ears. If you do, please, hold me steady. Like, share, comment where you're listening from. For your presence is the only anchor I have left in this sea of shadows. I rose at last, my body weak, but my spirit burning. He thought he had broken me. He thought fear would silence me. But he was wrong, for I still had the letters, still had the truth, still had Mother's voice whispering in my heart. And now I knew what I must do. I would confront him, not in the halls where shadows listened, not in the cellars where secrets rotted, but in the one place where the house itself might hear me, the chapel. I gathered my candle, my shawl, my courage, and made my way through the silent corridors. Each step felt heavier, as if the house itself tried to hold me back. The air grew colder, the walls seemed to close in, and yet I pressed on. At last, I reached the chapel. Its doors groaned open, the darkness inside swallowing me whole. I stepped forward, the bundle of letters clutched tight to my chest, and whispered into the silence, Father, Mother, if you can hear me, give me strength. Tonight, the truth will be spoken. But before I could take another step, I heard it, footsteps, coming from the far end of the chapel, and then a voice, not my brother's, a voice I had not heard in decades. Do you still remember me, sister? The chapel swallowed my breath as that voice, that impossible voice, drifted through the shadows. I froze where I stood, the letters clutched against my chest, my candlelight flickering weakly against the black. Do you still remember me, sister? Sister! The word cut into me like a blade, for I had no sister, or so I believed. From the darkness, a figure stepped forward. Her hair was white as snow, her face lined with years I could not count, yet her eyes, those eyes, were mirrors of my own. She smiled faintly, though it trembled with sorrow. You were told I died, she whispered. But I did not. My knees nearly gave way. No, my voice broke. No, that cannot be. You were a child. They said you never survived. She nodded slowly. They said many things, didn't they? They buried a name, burned records, locked me away in this house while you lived above. I was the secret, hidden like dust beneath the floorboards. My heart pounded in my ears, my brother's cruelty, my father's silence, my mother's grief. All of it crashed together, shattering the fragile shell of my memories. You are the true heir. Her smile faded. Perhaps not. What does heir mean in a house that feeds on lies? Before I could answer, the chapel doors slammed open, rattling the very walls. My brother stormed in, lantern blazing, his eyes wild. So? He sneered, his voice a snarl. The dead rise at last. He looked between us, his gaze filled with venom. Do you think this changes anything? Do you think I will let you ruin me? He advanced, his hand reaching beneath his coat. I staggered back, but my long-lost sister stood firm, her eyes fixed on him with a calm I could not fathom. You were never meant to bear this house, she said softly. You are the lie, the shadow. The truth cannot be erased forever. His laugh rang hollow, desperate. Truth is what survives. And I have survived. You were meant to rot here, forgotten. But I carved my place with fire and fear. This house is mine. The storm outside broke then. Thunder cracking. Lightning flooding the chapel with blinding light. For a moment, I saw it. The three of us, bound by blood and betrayal, standing before the altar as if summoned by the house itself. I stepped forward, my voice shaking but strong. No, this house belongs to none of us. It belongs to the dead, to mother, to father, to every soul betrayed within these walls. We are nothing but their shadows. My brother lunged then, his hand raised. But in that instant, my sister struck first. She pulled something from her cloak. The ring, the crest, proof of his bastard blood, and flung it at his feet. The sound echoed like a verdict. He stopped, staring down at it, his face twisting with rage, with shame. Lies, he screamed. All lies. But his voice cracked, and in that crack, the truth broke free. He turned to me, his eyes blazing with hatred. If I cannot have this house, then neither will you. And before I could cry out, he hurled his lantern to the floor. Flames leapt hungrily, devouring pews, crawling up the altar, licking at the walls, as if the house itself had been waiting for fire to free it. Smoke choked the air, heat blistered my skin, and in the chaos my brother fled, his figure vanishing into the inferno. I clutched my sister's hand, the letters pressed to my chest, and together we stumbled out into the storm. Behind us, the chapel burned. The windows shattered, the roof caved, and the flames roared like the voices of the dead. At last free of their prison, when dawn broke, the chapel was nothing but ash. My brother was never seen again. Some say he perished in the fire, others that he fled into the world, nameless, rootless, carrying his hatred with him. I do not know. I do not care. My sister and I stood side by side, strangers bound by blood, by grief, by betrayal. We did not speak of inheritance, for there was nothing left to inherit but ruins. The house still stands, though it groans more with each passing year. Its halls echo with whispers, its walls seep with secrets. And I am old now, my dear, so very old. The letters are faded, my sister sleeps in the earth, and I alone remain to tell you this tale. So if you hear my voice, if you feel the weight of my sorrow, stay with me a moment longer. Subscribe, leave your words, share where you are listening from, so that my story may not vanish like smoke in the wind. For once, my breath fails. The house will keep its silence again. Remember this, the inheritance I received was not wealth, not comfort, not legacy. It was betrayal, a legacy of fire and shadows. And when I am gone, child, it may be yours.